Hey, what's up? Welcome to Mediocre Slop. This is my channel. I'm going to talk about games, movies, and anything that interests me. And the first thing I want to talk about is Halo Combat Evolved, because I am 26 years old. It's 2022, and I just played this game for the first time, and I have a decent amount of things to say about it. I played it with the classic graphics because I heard that the remastered graphics were trash and ruined the aesthetic. I wanted to play the game the way everyone played it when they were young, except at 1080p and 144 frames per second. That's how I played it. And I was about to start this video, and I'm going to give you the pros and the cons. And I was really going to trash parts of this game hardcore because there are a lot of flaws. But then I had an epiphany. Not only did I remember how old this game is, but I just realized that 1 year before this game came out, Medal of Honor Underground came out for PlayStation 1. And that was the thing that I was playing when I was a little kid. Now, if you know Medal of Honor 2000, it's called Medal of Honor Underground. Look at that game, and then look at Halo CE. Look at the graphics, look at the gameplay. It looks like it's disgusting garbage. It looks like it's a decade younger than Halo CE, and it's 1 year younger. When I saw that right before making this video, I could not believe it, and that's going to influence this review. I think it's pretty difficult to talk about a game this old because you can think of it and compare it to things of old, but then you could also compare it to modern stuff. And you have to strike a balance, because you have to be fair, but then you can't be too generous if the game doesn't hold up. You have to be realistic. So I'm going to try my best. I think Halo CE is a great dopamine game. I think it actually holds up for the most part. The core gameplay is really fun for the most part, and we'll get into that. I like the weapons, I like how they sound, I like how they feel, I like the enemies, I like how the combat is paced and how each enemy requires a different type of strategy. You have the elites that are annoying and always bob and weave, and you just whip out your pistol or sniper or anything, grenades, to take them out, and then you have to get them first or else they're going to be annoying for the entire fight. You have the little grunts. You can just wreck them with anything, basically. I usually wreck them with my assault rifle. You have the shielded enemies, where the pistol is one of the better options, or the sniper. You could shoot their hand, and that little part where the shield isn't blocking is their hand. You could shoot their hand, and then it'll leave them open. All of these things, they make a really fun combat loop. Better than a lot of modern first-person shooters, which is weird to think about, how we've gone 20 years of game creation and first-person shooters, and all these developers don't really understand what actually makes a fun gameplay loop. You look at Call of Duty, 99% of that game's loop is put your crosshair on an enemy and pull the trigger. There's barely any enemy variety, and there's barely any strategy in terms of, except take cover when you're hurt, pop out, aim, shoot. That's what I really like about Halo, is that the core gameplay loop has strategy. Different enemies require different tactics and solutions. And I like how a lot of the combat encounters are really different. That's one of the best things about this game, is the combat variety, the level variety. Some levels are linear, some are really open, some have vehicles, some you pick up a shotgun for the first time. I actually like that, the fact that you only get the shotgun like halfway into the game. Because it's not just like, again, Call of Duty, where you're walking around and you just can pick up one of 30 guns on the floor. They all do the same thing. They all pretty much get the job done. No, when you find a shotgun in Halo, it's like, oh, a new gun. This is cool. This is great. Something to shake it up. Like, every gun has a purpose. Another thing I love about the gameplay is how sandboxy it feels. Like, you walk into a giant space and you see vehicles all the way on the left side and some on the right side, or enemies are driving vehicles. And what could happen is you will pick up one of the flying ones and you'll go in the air and start shooting people from down, shooting people that are down below. Then you might get shot down, and then you fall back down, and then you hop into one of the ghosts, and then you kill people that way. And then you might hop out of that, go on foot, and you just do regular on foot combat. And I love how dynamic that can feel. Like, it's really open. It's not just going down linear corridors and you just shoot and shoot and shoot. There's more that can go on. Oh, but we have to talk about my problems with the gameplay. I think the first half of this game is like double as good as the second half of this game. Once the Flood are introduced, my enjoyment goes down, way down. I think the Flood are a mistake on Bungie's part. I think their design goes against everything that makes the combat fun in Halo. They're just brain dead. They swarm you non-stop from all angles. And yeah, I get that they're the Flood. They're supposed to feel like this threat that is coming from all angles, etc. I know, I've heard people talk about that, but what makes this game fun is the smart enemy AI and everything that I just said. The core gameplay loop. And the Flood are not part of that core gameplay loop. The Flood is, here's a shotgun with like 12 shells per, mag or whatever you want to call it. These enemies are going to come at you non-stop. Just shoot them. And just, that's it. They're going to run at you and just shoot them. And they are non-stop. Non-stop. The library, disgusting. The library is rage-inducing. It is. I was prepared going into that level because I heard about the library, so I was mentally prepared. I told myself, this level is going to be very long and dragged out and repetitive. And I still was not prepared for how long, repetitive, and dragged out it was. It was beyond what I prepared myself for. I could not believe it. And it's not the only level. In the second half of the game, not only are you going through the same levels that you just did, but now there's the Flood. And the levels keep repeating the same rooms, and it just becomes so repetitive. By the end of the game, when I finally got that to the ship at the end of that long driving sequence, I was just angry. I just wanted it to end. Like, I was genuinely angry, and I didn't finish the game with a sense of satisfaction or happiness. I was like, F you, thank God it's over. But that's so weird to say because I really enjoyed the game for the most part. I think if the Flood were designed differently, oh my God, I just remembered about the Rocket Flood. The Rocket Flood and the Shotgun Flood can go burn forever. Anyway, I could not believe the difference between the first half and the second half. The second half is what made me realize this is an old game. But overall, I'd say Halo CE holds up. You can go through it, and even though it's 21 years old, it's still fun and it's really simple and it's easy to pick up. It's linear or it's semi-linear. You have your 2 weapons, and you have your regenerating health. You have your grenades. It's simple. And it's fun. The story, I didn't really care about, but I don't really think that the story is something that matters much, at least in this game. It felt kind of in the background. It's a very simple story. I know a lot of people that played it originally, they got their mind blown when like the Flood came out because of the build up, and I get that. It has good storytelling within the gameplay, but I guess I'm just so used to modern games. It's nothing special right now. Maybe it was back then. Definitely, if you compare it to Medal of Honor Underground, the first-person shooter that I was playing. And that's what my point here is. Halo CE. It's amazing. Like a masterpiece, 10 out of 10 when you compare it to the stuff that was out back then. When you compare it to stuff that's out now, I still say it's great. I still actually prefer it to a lot of the modern first-person shooter games. Because you can't get what this game has in modern first-person shooter games. You can't get campaign co-op. You don't get a fun, linear, lengthy first-person shooter campaign with a really cool, unique combat loop. So, I really think this is a great game. And as someone who played it when they were 26, I can definitely see why it's so loved. If I was 10 years old, well, actually, I would have been 6 years old. If I was 6 years old and I grew up with this game, I know it would be one of my favorite franchises of all time, if not my favorite franchise of all time. A lot of our favorite games is because of nostalgia, because it's what we grew up with. And that's why, for me, my favorite franchise ever is Metal Gear. Because when I was 5 years old, I was playing Metal Gear Solid 1. I don't know if I was exactly 5, but you get the point. And that's basically it with Halo Combat Evolved. I appreciate it, and I wish I would have played it earlier. Because if you play this and then you go play what else was out during the time, I really understand why this game is so loved by everybody. And that's about it. If you enjoyed, help me out, because I have a very tiny channel with 0 comments, 0 subscribers, 0 likes, 0 views. So it would help me out. And subscribe, because I'm going to be making more content consistently about games or movies or anything that's in my brain, anything that's currently going on, gaming news, whatever. I'm going to talk about it. I'll do more reviews. Something you guys should know about me is I'm a PlayStation fanboy. And by that, I mean I've only ever had a PlayStation for most of my life, and I had a Nintendo Switch. I had a PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I never had an Xbox, and I've had a Nintendo Switch. On the bright side, I do have a PC, so I basically have Xbox, but you know what I'm saying. So I may be biased, but I try to be as unbiased as possible, like with this review. And that's it. See you in the next video.